John Carter floated through the empty halls of Epsilon Station, his tools clinking against his belt. The space station orbited Earth silently, far from home. As lead engineer for Frontier Space Corps, John had fixed many problems in space before. This job seemed simple: repair the broken oxygen system, then go home. The station felt too quiet. John checked his oxygen meter again and continued working. He had been here 3 days already, and the loneliness was starting to get to him. Just finish the job, he muttered to himself, tightening a valve on the main oxygen tank. A sudden flash of light from the window caught his eye. John pushed himself to the observation deck and looked out. His mouth fell open in shock. A strange ship hovered near the station. It wasn't from Earth, that much was clear. Its surface glowed with blue-green light and seemed to move like water. No human ship looked like that. John's heart beat faster. First contact. After years of searching the stars, an alien ship had appeared right at his doorstep. He quickly went to the communication panel. Unknown vessel. This is Epsilon Station. Do you read me? Only static answered. The ship moved closer to the docking area. John hesitated, then made a decision. He would follow first contact protocol. As the only person on the station, it was his responsibility. He hurried to the airlock and watched through the small window as the alien ship connected to the station. The metals joined together perfectly, even though the designs were completely different. The outer door of the airlock opened. John held his breath. A figure stepped into the airlock. It looked almost human-shaped but walked strangely. Its skin was deep purple and seemed to shift and change. John could see through parts of it, like it wasn't fully solid. Most striking were its eyes. 3 of them, set in a triangle pattern on its face. John opened the inner door. The alien stepped inside the station. "Hello," John said, his voice shaking slightly. "Welcome to Epsilon Station." The alien made no sound. Instead, it swayed on its feet and reached out a hand with long, thin fingers. John noticed then how the creature's glow had dimmed. It looked weak, almost sick. The alien pointed to itself, then made a motion like something flowing out of its body. It repeated this several times, growing more desperate. "You're hurt?" John asked. "Sick." The alien nodded, a surprisingly human gesture. It pointed to the medical bay visible down the hallway, then to John's arm. It made the flowing motion again. John's eyes widened as understanding hit him. "Blood. You need blood." Another nod, more urgent this time. Fear and curiosity fought in John's mind. This went against all protocol. Biological exchange with unknown species was forbidden for good reason. The alien could carry diseases. The blood might harm it, or it might want the blood for some other darker purpose. But as John looked into those strange 3 eyes, he saw something universal: fear of death. The alien was dying and had risked everything to find help. "The medical bay is this way," John said, making his decision. He floated down the hallway, the alien following slowly behind. With each passing moment, the creature's glow grew dimmer. John knew he might regret what he was about to do. But something inside told him this moment was important, not just for him, but maybe for all of humanity. John led the alien into the small medical bay of Epsilon Station. White lights buzzed overhead, making the alien's purple skin look even stranger. Medical supplies lined the walls. Bandages, medicines, and equipment for human emergencies. Nothing for helping dying aliens. The creature slumped against the examination table, its 3 eyes blinking slowly. Its body seemed more transparent now, fading like a light running out of power. "I don't even know if my blood will help you," John said, talking more to himself than the alien. "It might kill you faster. It might kill me." The alien pointed to a drawer. John opened it, surprised to find the blood transfusion kit inside. He hadn't put that there. The alien must have sensed it somehow. "You really think human blood will save you?" John asked. The alien made a strange gesture with its 3-fingered hand, touching its chest, then pointing to John, then making a circular motion that somehow seemed to mean compatible or matching. John paced the small room. His training was clear: no biological exchange with unknown species. If he did this, he could lose his job. He could die from some alien infection. He could accidentally harm the alien. But if he didn't help, the alien would definitely die. "I need to think," John said. He looked at the communication panel on the wall. He should call Earth Command. Let the experts decide. That was protocol. But he knew what would happen. Hours of debate while the alien died right here. Then, if the alien survived that long, they would order it contained, studied, treated like a specimen instead of a visitor. The alien made a soft humming sound. It lifted its hand weakly and projected a small glowing image from its fingertips. John stared in wonder as a tiny hologram appeared. Stars, planets, and what looked like a map. "Your home?" John asked. The alien nodded, then changed the image. Now John saw purple beings like his visitor, but healthy and strong. Children played. Ships flew between stars. The alien was showing its people, its civilization. The hologram faded as the alien's strength failed. It looked at John with those three intelligent eyes, waiting but not demanding. John remembered why he had joined Frontier Space Corps in the first place: to find new life, to make connections beyond Earth. Now that moment had arrived, and he was afraid. "My sister Allison always said I trusted too easily," John said with a nervous laugh. "She's going to kill me if this alien doesn't do it first." He made his decision. John rolled up his sleeve and prepared the transfusion equipment with shaking hands. The needle looked so ordinary, so human, about to connect him with something completely unknown. "I'm John," he said, pointing to himself. "If we're going to share blood, you should at least know my name." The alien made a sound like gentle wind through leaves. It was the first real sound John had heard it make. "I'll call you Vex," John decided, based on the sound. "That's what I'll put in my report, if I live to write one." John inserted the needle into his arm, watching as his bright red blood began to flow through the clear tube toward the alien. "Please don't let this be a mistake," he whispered. Vex reached out and gently touched John's free hand. The touch felt like a light electrical current, not unpleasant, almost like gratitude. As the blood flowed between them, John knew something important was happening. For better or worse, his life would never be the same again. The moment John's blood entered Vex's body, everything changed. The alien's purple skin began to glow brighter, pulsing with new energy. The transparent areas became solid again. Vex straightened up, strength returning with each drop of human blood. "It's working," John whispered, amazed at the rapid change. But then John felt something too. A warm tingling spread from his arm through his entire body. His vision blurred, then suddenly sharpened. The medical bay looked different now. He could see tiny details he had never noticed before: the small scratches on the metal walls, dust particles floating in the air, even the electrical currents running through the station's wiring. "What's happening to me?" John gasped, pulling the needle from his arm. Colors became brighter, more intense. He heard the soft hum of the station's life support system, a sound that had always been there but somehow below his normal hearing range. Even odors seemed stronger. The clean medical smell of the bay, the metallic scent of the station, and a strange, sweet smell coming from Vex. The alien stood up straight now, fully recovered. Its three eyes focused on John with new intensity. Vex reached out and placed three long fingers against John's forehead. John expected pain, but instead, images flooded his mind. He saw stars and planets he didn't recognize. He saw purple beings like Vex, living in beautiful crystal cities. He saw their history, how they had changed themselves through science, making themselves smarter and stronger, but losing something important in the process. The connection broke. John staggered backward, grabbing the table for support. "I could see your thoughts," he said in shock. "I saw your home." Vex nodded and touched its own arm where the blood had entered, then pointed to John's head. The message was clear. The blood exchange had created a connection between them. John looked at his hands. They appeared normal, but they didn't feel normal. He picked up a metal tool from the medical tray and nearly dropped it in surprise. He could feel the tiny vibrations of its molecules. "What did you do to me?" John asked. Vex made gentle motions with its hands. Not harm, help, gift, exchange. John tried to understand what was happening. His mind seemed to work faster now, making connections it never could before. Scientific formulas and equations he had studied years ago suddenly made perfect sense. He looked at the station's oxygen system through the wall and instantly understood how to improve it. "This is impossible," John said. "I can't see through walls." But he could. Not exactly like X-ray vision, but he could somehow sense the systems behind the walls, understand their functions and flows. Vex made the sound like wind through leaves again. Vex, and projected another hologram. This time, John saw himself, but with a glowing outline around his body, especially bright around his head. "You've changed me," John said. "My brain is different." Vex nodded, then showed another image. John's blood cells magnified thousands of times. They looked ordinary to John, but Vex pointed to something within them, something microscopic that John couldn't identify. "There's something in my blood that helped you," John realized. "Something your people lost." Another nod from Vex, more enthusiastic this time. John sat down, trying to process everything. The station around him felt different. The stars outside the window seemed closer somehow. His mind raced with new thoughts and possibilities. "The Corps is never going to believe this," he said with a nervous laugh. Vex touched John's hand again, and a feeling of gratitude and friendship flowed between them. Whatever was happening to John, it wasn't meant as harm. It was a gift. An alien's thank you for saving its life. John looked at Vex with new eyes, both literally and figuratively. His fear was fading, replaced by wonder and excitement. "I think this is just the beginning, isn't it?" he asked. Vex's 3 eyes blinked in agreement. 7 days passed since John had given his blood to Vex. Each day brought new surprises as John's enhanced senses grew stronger. He could now understand the station's systems without checking the computers. He could feel changes in temperature before they registered on the gauges. Most amazing of all, he and Vex had developed a way to communicate. It wasn't exactly telepathy. John couldn't hear Vex's thoughts as words, but he received images and feelings that became clearer each day. In return, John taught Vex simple English words, which the alien tried to replicate with its strange vocal system. "Home," Vex said, the words sounding stretched and musical. "That's right," John smiled. "Your home is far from here, isn't it?" Vex projected an image showing a journey across vast distances. Stars and galaxies moved past in the visualization. The alien's planet was very far away indeed. "Why did you come all this way alone?" John asked, sitting across from Vex in the station's small dining area. Vex touched its chest, then made a sweeping gesture to include others of its kind. Through their connection, John understood. Vex was a scout. Its people were dying. Something had gone wrong with their genetic modifications generations ago. They had engineered themselves to be perfect, but had accidentally removed something vital. Something they discovered was still present in human DNA. "So you came looking for humans," John said. "For our blood." Vex confirmed this, showing John images of its civilization's slow decline. Their children were born weaker with each generation. They had searched for a solution for centuries. "And my blood can save your entire species?" John asked, finding it hard to believe. Vex made a gesture meaning partly or not exactly. It showed John images of his blood being studied, certain elements being isolated, then replicated. His blood contained the key, but their scientists would need to develop a permanent solution. "I understand," John said. But why am I changing? What's happening to me? Vex stood up and moved to the center of the room. It raised its hands, and from its fingertips came the most complex hologram yet. The image showed human DNA strands intertwining with alien genetic material. The visualization zoomed in to show changes at the cellular level, then zoomed out to show effects on the brain. Your blood changed me, Vex explained through images. My essence changed you. John understood now. When Vex had received human blood, something in its system had created a reaction, producing compounds that flowed back through the connection to John. These alien compounds had enhanced his brain, altered his perception, expanded his consciousness. Was this intentional? John asked, not sure whether to be amazed or concerned. Vex lowered its head in what John had come to recognize as its version of a no gesture. This side effect had been unexpected, but not unwelcome. Through their connection, John felt Vex's sincere desire to repay the debt. Vex approached John and raised its three-fingered hands to either side of John's head, asking permission through their connection. You want to give me something? John asked. Vex confirmed, showing an image of knowledge flowing from its mind to John's. Will it hurt? John asked. Vex's response conveyed that it would not cause pain, but the experience would be intense. John took a deep breath. Okay, I trust you. Vex placed its hands gently on John's temples. Immediately, John's mind filled with information. Star maps, physical laws unknown to human science, mathematical equations that explained gravity in ways Earth's best minds had never conceived. When Vex finally pulled away, John gasped. His head didn't hurt, but it felt full, like a library suddenly stocked with thousands of new books. This knowledge, John whispered, it could change everything for humanity. Vex made its wind-through-leaves sound, which John now understood was something like satisfaction or happiness. Through their connection, John felt Vex's message clearly. This knowledge was the alien's gift, a fair exchange for the blood that would save its people. John woke up to the sound of an alarm. It wasn't the station's emergency system, but a reminder he had set weeks ago. The Frontier Space Corps retrieval shuttle would arrive today. He sat up quickly, his mind instantly alert. Since the blood exchange with Vex, he needed less sleep and woke fully aware. John found Vex in the observation room, looking at Earth through the large window. The shuttle comes today, John said. We need to decide what to do. This was the conversation they had been avoiding. In the 12 days since they had met, John and Vex had shared knowledge and developed their unique communication, but they hadn't discussed what would happen when other humans arrived. Vex turned from the window, its three eyes blinking in sequence. Through their connection, John received a series of images. Vex's ship returning to its homeworld, John traveling with Vex, being welcomed as a hero by the purple aliens, learning even more of their advanced science. You want me to go with you? John asked, surprised. Vex confirmed, showing John visions of wonders he could experience, knowledge he could gain. The images were tempting. What about the alternative? John asked. Coming to Earth with me. Vex projected darker images. Fear, containment, humans in lab coats performing tests, military guards. The alien understood human nature well enough to predict how many would react to its presence. John couldn't argue. You're probably right. Some would welcome you, but others would fear you. And fear makes humans dangerous. He paced the room, thinking. His duty was to report everything to Frontier Space Corps, but his connection with Vex had shown him that there were bigger concerns than military protocols. The retrieval shuttle will dock in 4 hours, John said. We need a plan. John spent the next 3 hours gathering supplies and data. He downloaded the station's logs, but edited out any mention of Vex. He prepared his report carefully, including some of the scientific insights he had gained, but excluding their origin. Vex watched him work, occasionally helping by projecting clarifying images when John struggled to translate alien concepts into human language. This knowledge could advance Earth's technology by centuries. John said, looking at the equations he had written. "But I'm not sure we're ready for all of it." Through their connection, John felt Vex's agreement. Some technologies required wisdom to use properly. The station's computer announced the approaching shuttle. Frontier Core Retrieval Shuttle Orion on final approach. Docking in 15 minutes. John took a deep breath. It's time. Vex moved toward the docking bay, but John caught its arm. "Wait," he said. "I've made my decision." John explained his plan. He would return to Earth alone but would tell selected scientists about Vex. Together, they would establish proper first contact procedures. Meanwhile, Vex would return to its people with samples of John's blood to begin developing their cure. "We'll meet again," John promised. "Next time, our peoples will meet properly, as equals." Vex touched John's forehead one last time, sharing a final gift of knowledge. John gasped as new understanding flowed into him. Coordinates in space where they could safely meet in the future. "Thank you," John whispered. The shuttle's docking clamps engaged with a loud mechanical sound. John quickly led Vex to its ship on the station's far side. The alien craft had remained undetected by Earth's sensors, hidden by technology beyond human understanding. "Goodbye, my friend," John said, feeling strangely emotional. Vex made the wind-through-leaves sound that John now recognized as affection. The alien placed something small in John's hand, a crystal that glowed with the same purple light as Vex's skin. "A way to find you," John guessed. Vex confirmed with a nod before entering its ship. The door sealed silently. John hurried back to the main docking bay just as the shuttle door opened. Lieutenant Kate Morrison stepped through, her eyes widening at John's appearance. "Carter, are you okay? You look different." John smiled. "I have a lot to tell you, Kate. More than you can imagine." The debriefing room at Earth Command Central felt too small and too bright to John. After weeks alone on Epsilon Station, with only Vex for company, being surrounded by 10 serious-faced officials made him uncomfortable. His enhanced senses picked up their heartbeats, their whispered comments, even the slight smell of fear in the room. "Engineer Carter, please continue your report," said General William Porter, a stern man with gray hair and cold eyes. John had been talking for 2 hours already. He had shared the edited logs from the station and explained the theoretical advances in physics he had calculated during his time alone. He had not yet mentioned Vex. "Sir, before I continue, I need to know something," John said, gathering his courage. "If we made contact with a peaceful alien species, what would our response be?" The room went silent. Officials exchanged glances. "That's classified information, Carter," General Porter said stiffly, "and not relevant to your maintenance mission." John took a deep breath. "Actually, sir, it's extremely relevant." He reached into his pocket and pulled out the purple crystal Vex had given him. It glowed softly in his palm, pulsing like a heartbeat. "What is that?" asked Dr. Olivia Wright, the lead scientist present. "Proof that we are not alone," John said simply. "I made first contact on Epsilon Station with an intelligent, peaceful alien. Its name, as near as I could pronounce it, was Vex." The room erupted in voices. General Porter called for order, his face flushed with anger. "You're saying you encountered an alien life form and didn't report it immediately?" Porter demanded. "I'm reporting it now," John replied calmly. "To the right people, at the right time." For the next hour, John told them everything. Well, almost everything. He described Vex's appearance and its ship. He explained how Vex's species was suffering from genetic problems and had been searching for compatible DNA to help them recover. He shared how Vex had asked for a blood sample for study. He did not mention giving his blood directly to Vex. He did not reveal his enhanced abilities or the knowledge transfer. Not yet. "This alien just happened to find you, alone, on our most remote station?" Dr. Wright asked skeptically. "They've been observing Earth for some time," John explained. "They know our languages, our customs. They chose to make contact with one person first to see how we would react. And you let it leave. General Porter's voice was dangerously quiet. It wasn't my prisoner, John said firmly. Vex was a visitor, an explorer like us. You had no authority to conduct first contact protocols, Porter said, standing up. This could be considered treason, Carter. Dr. Wright interrupted, still examining the crystal. This material isn't like anything I've ever seen. The energy readings are off the charts. She looked up at John. Did it share any technology with you? This was the moment John had been waiting for. He pulled a tablet from his bag and projected a series of equations and diagrams onto the main screen. This is just a small sample of what I learned, he said. The scientists in the room leaned forward, their eyes widening as they studied the information. Even those without scientific backgrounds could tell something extraordinary was on the screen. That's a functional theory of quantum gravity, Dr. Wright whispered. And is that faster than light travel? Impossible, another scientist muttered, but he couldn't look away from the equations. Not impossible, John said, just beyond our current understanding. Until now. General Porter looked from the screen to John, suspicion clear in his eyes. How did you come up with this, Carter? You're an engineer, not a theoretical physicist. John smiled slightly. Let's just say my encounter with Vex was enlightening. Dr. Wright looked at John with new interest. We need to run some tests on you, Carter. Standard procedure after alien contact. I understand, John said, knowing those tests would reveal the changes in his body and brain. I'm happy to cooperate. The mood in the room had shifted. Fear and suspicion remained, but now excitement and wonder were present too. Humanity's first contact had occurred, and it had opened a door to the stars. 1 year had passed since John Carter had met Vex on Epsilon Station. He stood at the large viewing window of the ESS Horizon, Earth's first faster-than-light spaceship. The ship gleamed with new technology, a perfect blend of human engineering and alien knowledge. Beautiful, isn't it? John said. Beside him stood Vex, no longer the only alien on Earth. 6 more of Vex's kind had arrived 3 months ago, after careful negotiations. They called themselves the Lumina, and their purple skin now seemed almost normal to John. Yes, beautiful, Vex replied in English, its voice still sounding like wind through leaves, but the words much clearer now. The tests after John's return had revealed everything. The changes to his brain, the alien knowledge, the blood exchange. There had been fear at first, even talk of locking him away. But when other scientists confirmed the value of the information in his mind, attitudes changed quickly. Director Carter, we're ready for the final systems check, said Commander Lisa Bennett, the ship's captain. She had been one of the first to trust John's story. Thank you, Commander, John replied. We'll be there shortly. His new title still felt strange. Director of the Interstellar Initiative was not a job he had ever expected to have, but his unique connection to the Lumina made him the perfect choice to lead humanity's first steps into deep space. Are you nervous? He asked Vex. The alien made a gesture that John now recognized as amusement. No, ship is good. Crew is good. John smiled. The Lumina had a simple way of speaking English, but they understood complex ideas perfectly. Together, they walked to the bridge of the ship. Crew members nodded respectfully as they passed. Most had gotten used to seeing the aliens, though some still stared in wonder. The bridge buzzed with activity as final preparations were made for the test flight. This would be the first time humans traveled faster than light. The destination was simple, just to the edge of the solar system and back. But it represented a giant leap for mankind. All systems are green, reported the chief engineer. The Lumina drive is functioning perfectly. John looked at the special engine at the heart of the ship. It used principles that had been beyond human science a year ago. The glowing purple core reminded him of Vex's skin that first day when the alien had been dying. One small cut changed everything. John said quietly. Vex touched his arm lightly. Good change. For both. The blood exchange had indeed helped both species. The Lumina had found the genetic material they needed to save their people. Humanity had gained knowledge that advanced their technology by centuries. 2 minutes to launch, Commander Bennett announced. John thought about how much had changed in 1 year. There had been fear and distrust at first. Military leaders like General Porter had wanted to keep the aliens isolated, to take their technology without true cooperation. But wiser heads had prevailed. Now, humans and Lumina worked side by side. The 7 aliens on Earth were teachers, sharing knowledge at a pace humans could absorb safely. In return, Earth had sent volunteers to provide blood samples for the Lumina scientists. All crew secure for faster-than-light travel, came the announcement. John and Vex took their seats as the final countdown began. Through the main window, John could see Earth growing smaller. When I gave you my blood, John said, I never imagined it would lead to this. Vex's 3 eyes blinked in sequence. Small things, big changes. Are we ready to make history? Commander Bennett asked, her hand on the final activation switch. John looked around at the bridge, humans and aliens working together, about to break the light barrier for the first time. We're ready, he said. As the ship's engines hummed louder, preparing to bend space itself, John thought about his simple act of kindness on a lonely space station. He had given his blood to save 1 dying alien. In return, he had received the stars. The horizon leaped forward, leaving ordinary space behind. Humanity's new frontier had begun.